Simon, the Academic Integrity Program Manager. Can anybody in here tell me, what does that mean? What do I do?
You help define what academic integrity is? And
I
help
do.
coach people through it?
I help define it, yeah. And then I help what? Or I do what?
Like hold the students and teachers to that standard.
Wow, I like that answer. Hold students and teachers to that standard, which means that yes, my job is to educate students and faculty on what the expectations are, how to meet those expectations, and then what to do when something happens. I don't kick people out for cheating. Y'all are told the rules, and you make the choice to do it yourself. I just process the paperwork. That's all I do is process the paperwork. Y'all make the choice. You're going to force us, okay, we're going to give you a sanction, and you're going to change your life. But you're in total control. But what we're doing today is we're going to talk about plagiarism. Because what I see quite often is unintentional plagiarism. And that's what we're going to address today. We're not going to address that intentional, I plan to cheat plagiarism. Although that is out there, it happens, and yes, sometimes it really cracks me up because a lot of people aren't very good about it, and you look at it and you're thinking, wow, did they really think they could get away with this? So what we're going to educate you, hopefully, we're going to work on paraphrasing and how to do it, because I get so many violations in my office, and those are usually the kids that are very upset and shocked at landing in my office, because they truly and honestly did not realize that they were doing anything wrong. A lot of the people that land in my office, they're not surprised. They knew that they were making a bad choice in a decision, and they knew they deserved to be there. So hopefully none of you are going to land in my office, because if you're there for that reason, it's not a very pleasant place to be. So we kind of just talked about why are we here, okay? We're here, so I talked about, we educated about what those expectations are. So now I'm here to help you have the tools to meet those expectations. And those expectations, I didn't bother putting it all in this presentation. Y'all have handouts. Read them, okay? There's the answers on there for everything that you're not supposed to do. We even defined it for you. Let's talk about what could happen. Depending on the instructor, and that's the important part you need to realize. The instructors at this university are in total control of what your sanction is. So Sierra here might get caught cheating off, what's your name? Audrey, on, let's say, a history test. And the teacher says, Sierra, I saw you looking at Audrey's paper. You're going to get a 0 on this test. But I'll drop the lowest test grade for the semester, so it may or may not even affect her grade. Now, if Sierra and Audrey were in pretty much any of my accounting classes, it would have been, Sierra, Audrey, you both have an XF, get out of my class, for the exact same behavior. So it's very important that you read the syllabus for each teacher and understand what their sanctions are, okay, what their expectations are. So, you can get a 0, and I'll be honest, that is most often the sanctions that are given is a 0 on the assignment or lowering a letter grade in the class. Those are the most common sanctions, unless you're in the College of Business. Raise your hand, who's going to be graduating from the College of Business? You guys need to be very careful to understand the expectations of every single professor. I have a professor over there that if you don't put your pencil down fast enough at the end of the test, you may receive an XF in the class, just like that. Know the rules. Read the rules. Pay attention to that little sheet that some of your teachers have you sign at the start of every single exam. They're not kidding. All right? Then you could eventually get expelled. I've been here for 5 years. We've only done that twice in those 5 years. We really prefer to help you to be successful. However, if you insist on repeatedly making extremely bad choices that have an impact and effect on other people's education that they're paying money for, you need to leave. And that's pretty much the only way to really get expelled. All right? We want to help you to be successful. So don't be that afraid. Be willing to ask questions so we can help you. All right. Plagiarism defined. Anybody want to read that definition for me? Yeah, neither do I. You guys have the definition in front of you. It's on the first page of your handout. And it's Audrey, right? Can you hold your flyer up for everybody? Look at that flyer. Everybody should have one, and it might be a different color because I hate white paper. But the front page has the definitions. This is a really long, boring definition. This is the definition, though, from the Academic Integrity Policy, which means this is the definition you are held responsible for. Now, one thing that is not included in this definition, but is included in the new policy that we're working on, because the professors at this university did not think it was necessary to say that you could not copy off yourself, you could not reuse your own work. They assumed you knew that. We have learned the hard way that we apparently have to come out and say that self-plagiarism is also not allowed. All right? So that will be part of the new definition. Basically, guys, read it and understand. Plagiarism is taking credit for someone else's work, is what it gets down to. And that's whether it's intentional or not, which means that you can't claim, you can't hold me accountable, I didn't know this was wrong. Has anybody in this room ever gotten a speeding ticket before? Oh, me totally. Sir, did you know you were speeding when you did it?
Yes.
Anybody in here get a ticket where they didn't realize that the speed they were going was not allowed? You've done that? I've been pulled over, well, both ways. But the thing is, you get the ticket anyway, whether you realize you were speeding or not. Academic integrity violations are the same way, especially with plagiarism. All right, so let's take a look. What makes something plagiarized? If it's not your own thoughts and words, you should cite it. We're going to talk a little bit about what that means to cite it. Changing a couple of words in a sentence or rearranging the sentences in a paragraph is not acceptable. That is not what paraphrasing is. Okay? The idea is that you're supposed to read a whole lot of information. Is anybody in here in grad school? Okay, a couple of you. How many articles do you think you should read before you write say, a 20-page paper?
Too many.
I like that answer, too many. Give me a number. At least 10.
20-page paper?
Yeah, 20-page paper. Grad school, that's nothing. At least 10 articles. And then you write the paper, and you take that information and you put it into your own perspective. So Sierra and I both wrote a paper on, let's say, the positive merits of cat ownership, because there is a lot of research out there on the health benefits of owning a pet. But if we were both to write a paper on the same topic, and even if we use the exact same 10 articles, our papers would read very differently, because we should each put it in our own words, our own perspective, okay? Then the final thing is, you can't use your own work. Oh, yeah, that's self-plagiarism. Here's the wording that the communication department came up with that I absolutely love and share with other people. They have a sentence in the syllabus, it was a grad student that came up with it, I believe, that the work that it has to be your own work created for this course this semester. So that means if you failed this class in the spring and you retake it in the fall, first off, why would you want to reuse your own work? You failed the class the first time. So you have to create your own work each time you take a class. And you can't take a paper and turn it into 2 different classes, even if it's generally the same topic. You need to have conversations with the professors, and sometimes they can help you find something that will work. All right. Cultural differences. Do we have any international students in the room? A couple? Do you want to share what country you come from? Norway. There's not a huge difference to my knowledge in the citation. Yeah, pretty much the same. Okay. And what country are you from? China. China. There's some major differences in citations between China and America. Can someone name another country where there might be some big differences? I've got a few shockers for you. Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Yeah, there's some big differences there too. Okay, any other country? Colombia. I was shocked, and this student has given me permission to share this story. She was a grad student, was here in her first semester, really worked hard, and she turned in a paper and then went back to Colombia for the semester break. And then she got an email from a professor saying, your paper contains significant plagiarism, you're receiving an XF in the class. The very next day, she got an email from her program director saying because you have an XF in this class, you're being removed from the program. Then she got an email saying because you are an international student and you are not in a program, you are in violation of your visa. Anybody know what that means? She can't get back in this country. And she was at home. Luckily, I also was reading my email over the semester break, and I'm afraid I put my foot down and kind of offended a few people and told them, you can't do this. Every student has a legal right to appeal a violation. You cannot punish them and say, you're going to have an XF, and then say, okay, you're kicked out of the program, okay, you're kicked out of the college, oh look, you're kicked out of the country. It does not work that way. The student has 5 academic days to appeal. You get a violation at the end of the semester, that means your appeal time does not run until 5 academic days after the new semester starts. So they could not impose the sanction until her appeal time expired, which means her visa was still in status, she could still come back, and we ended up working together. But what we discovered in Colombia, and then discovered in pretty much all of Central and South America, for starters, they don't go to school for 12 years like we do in the United States and many other countries. They go for 10. In many other countries, they are not taught English. In China, you can receive English, their education in English as part of your regular education. In a lot of Central and South American countries, to receive training in English, you have to pay for it. Very few students can afford that. Next, as long as you have where you got it from on the reference page, you can copy and paste all you want without an in-text citation and without quotation marks. What's your name? Erin, you did exactly what I did. I was at a conference actually I was in New Mexico, and so a lot of the colleges from Central and South America came to it, and I'm at a table just like this, and I'm at a workshop, and I realized I'm sitting at a table with the president of the University of Mexico City and another one that's in charge of academic success from a college in Colombia. And this is like 2 months after my problem with this student happened. I was like, hey, guys, can you explain this to me? When the president of a university in Mexico City, I asked the question, if all they have to do is put a reference on the reference page, how do you know that they understand the concept they were supposed to learn through the process of writing this paper? Because seriously, guys, we don't assign papers just because we're cruel and we love to grade papers. There is a purpose to it. You are supposed to learn something from it. When the student just copies and pastes, how do you know that they have learned something? How is that shown? And the president of the university said, and I quote, because they picked the right stuff to copy and paste. So I ended up having a lot of conversations, and my son was at that conference too, so he and I split up, and we sought out everybody from Central and South America and talked about this topic and the differences. Because we automatically know there's differences with China. There's differences with Saudi Arabia. There's differences with India. We know this. Erin, right? What do you care about other people's ideas on plagiarism?
Well, I mean, I'm an education major, so like knowing that going into my own classroom when I get to our from international backgrounds, their parents might be
You can't always tell that they have international backgrounds. That is one of the problems in identifying who needs our help. But as a student, in your classroom, here, what does this have to do with plagiarism and you and your classmates? Anybody in here ever do a group project? Who in here hates group projects? Guys, I'm the integrity lady, be honest. Who hates group projects? Let's be honest. Who's been on a group where someone didn't do their share of the work? Exactly. Here's an issue with plagiarism, group projects, and cultural competence. You need to be aware of some of those differences. Because in a group project, you are held accountable for all your group mates' work.